jolly, fa la 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 la. Don we now our gay apparel, fa la 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 la. Choke the engine, Yuletide carol, fa la 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 la. That, my friends, is the great, fantastic Nat King Cole singing "Deck the Halls," and it is Christmas Eve. When I'm doing the live show, you could be watching this on Christmas Eve. You can watch me on Christmas Day. You can be watching it anytime. At this point, I don't know. I don't care because it's Christmas. And it's wonderful, and it's fantastic, and it's lovely, and it's going to keep getting better. And you just got to keep saying that to yourself because it's been a pretty crappy year for the most part. But you know what? It doesn't matter because the next 2 days, Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, are going to be phenomenal. Even if you don't celebrate the holidays, it's still going to be a lot of fun, family fun, friends, fantastic atmosphere, whatever. This is Dylan Knows, and I'm very excited for this episode today. The reason being is I'm going to be doing a first on my show. Instead of me yammering on for 2+ hours about stuff you probably don't even care about, I will be reading Christmas stories. I might have to take these glasses off. They're a little freaky weird, though. But let me let everybody know that we're live because nobody's watching, and I'm very surprised at all of you out there. So let me just go. Dylan Knows is live now. That's what I need to know. Not that it's going to get any viewers. Probably won't. But you know what? I don't care because I'm doing this for myself, as I always do. I always said every year. And hey, I've been doing this for myself for 222 episodes. It's just a shame I couldn't get to 225, but it's still pretty good. 222, and today is the 23rd of December. It's Christmas Eve. That's the live version of it, as I said. But if you're watching this any other time, it's cool. So, how are we going to do this? Well, let's see. I've got all these books, and I got all these books back here behind me. Now, I'm not going to read every single one of these. I'm going to just take a look at them, see if maybe I feel like it. Some are for really, really young kids. Others are, there's one I'm going to read. Others are not, and there's some other stuff as well. So, it's going to be a whole lot of different things. You'll hear some classic stuff. You'll see some stuff that isn't classic, since you might not know about, that I find classic personally. And you'll hear me do some silly voices. Some will be for kids because I did have kids, and they have lots of Christmas stuff. And hey, if you guys are watching this, hopefully you're letting this for the kids as well. Got some really interesting stuff coming up, some really neat things. So, I didn't really think about doing this, so what should I start with? I'm not going to start with one of the classics, but we will be doing that soon enough. I got plenty of those to go with. Here's a good one to start with that nobody's expecting. A quick, easy one called "How Do Dinosaurs Say Merry Christmas?" Let me see if I can try something here. Let me just see if I can try something here. Hang out to a box. Let's see if I can reverse this. Boom. And then maybe I can read it this way so I can show you guys the pictures while I'm reading it. This was one of my son's favorites. I think my daughter liked it as well a little bit. But it is How Do Dinosaurs Say Merry Christmas by Jane Yolen and Mark Teague. And I've got my eggnog here with nutmeg on it, so delicioso. Ooh, that's good. So here we go. Ready? On Christmas Eve, does a dinosaur sleep? Does he go up to bed without making a peep? Pictures here. Or does he sneak out just to check what's to see? Pretty nice drawings. Does he rip open presents set under the tree? Does he pick off some ornaments, angels and all? Actually, you know what? I think I'm going to take these off because it'll probably be easier to read. Does he shake up the tree so the rest of them fall? Does he eat all the cookies left out for St. Nick? It's like how the windows have that snow on it. Giving each candy cane one sloppy lick. Does he upend the stockings right onto the floor? Does he pick out the best gifts so he will have more? I don't want to link my phone. Get this off. Thank you. No, a dinosaur doesn't. He carols with care. He helps trim the trees so no branches are bare. He eats all his dinner, then clears away dishes. And gives his grandparents big Christmas Eve wishes. When Santa arrives, he's tucked in, hear him snore. Merry Christmas, you good dinosaur. That's kind of nice, right? It's a nice one to start with. I like that one. Here's another quick, easy one to do. This one's for babies, so if you have babies and you want them to see this, here they are. If not, just bear with me. This will be over shortly. Here we go. Rudolph's Christmas Party. Now, what's cool about this is this stuff's touchy-feely stuff, so you feel his, like, it's kind of like a silky reindeer fur. Rudolph is throwing a surprise party for Santa. So, all fuzzy right here. The abominable snow monster helps hang up the garland. Rudolph blows up balloons. Hermie hangs them. Yukon carves an ice sculpture. Mrs. Claus makes a Christmas cake. Rudolph helps too. Again, look, snow in the windows. The elves light up the tree, and so does Rudolph. I would just call that one was when Noel was low, so that's Noel Elf. And this other one they got always there's Noah Elf. Surprise, Santa! Everyone yells, Merry Christmas! You know, it's a nice one for kids, but kids like Christmas. These are mostly for kids anyway. So, let me see if I can move this to the side here, but wrong way. There we go. So you can see my my great ornaments. No, you know what? F it. I'm just going to stay right here in the center. All right, what's next? Oh, here we go. I think I've read this one. It's a little long, but you know what? We'll read it anyway. A Pussycat's Christmas, because everybody likes cats. It's written by Margaret Wise Brown, illustrated by Ann Mortimer. Let's make it closer here. I can't really see too well. It was Christmas. How could you tell? Was the snow falling? No. The little cat, Pussycat, knew that Christmas was coming. The ice tinkled when it broke on the frozen mud puddles. The cold air made her hair stand straight up in the air, and the air smelled just as it did last year. What did it smell like? Could she smell Christmas trees? Of course she could. And tangerines and Christmas greens and holly? And could she hear the crackle and slip of white tissue paper and red tissue paper? She certainly could. Tissue paper rustled, nuts cracked, scissors cut. Brrr. There wasn't a flake of snow in the sky, but the sky was dark and low, and there was the dark smell of winter air before snow. And then, click! The streetlights clicked on all over town, and the heavens turned dark. Beyond the window, one by one, the snowflakes began to fall out of the sky. How did little Pussycat know? Could she hear the snow? Well, no, she can see it. She's not blind. Just saying. Shh! She certainly could. And she ran right out into the snowstorm, for if there was anything that this little cat loved, it was the cold, dry, fresh, wild and feathery, powdery snow. She went pouncing around in it, bouncing around in joy, and she ate some of it, and she rolled in it, and dug in it, and played with it, and then she stood up all white with snow, very still, for it was very quiet, very quiet. First there was no sound, and then there was some, for when everything is quiet, you can hear things far away. From the sky with a sound like steady whispering came the snow, that sound of snow. Then the wind rattled the black branches and rattled. It was time for Pussycat to go into the house. For little cats do not like the wind. They usually don't like snow, but this little cat did. Beautiful kitty. All the smells of the earth that she knew were frozen and buried in the white snow. The world was very quiet and very mysterious. Even footsteps were quiet. Pussycat didn't go in right away, because through the wind and the falling snow, she heard something. She stood very still and stretched her ears there in the white darkness, and soon she heard it coming from far away, away up the snowy road. Ding, 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 jingle, 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 ding. What was it? She heard it going by in the white falling snow. She saw it! She saw the sleigh go jingling by. Then Pussycat meowed at her window pane, and she heard footsteps coming to let her in. They always let her in right away because they didn't want her to get cold, and they liked to have her in the house. She walked right into the living room, where she could smell the sharp, tangy smell of the Christmas tree and candles and nuts and raisins and apples and tangerines. They shouldn't have let her stay in the living room, but they were wrapping up packages and hanging things on the tree. And this is why. Pussycat pounced. She pounced on everything, and she waited to pounce with shining eyes and switching tail. She waited with shining eyes for something to fall, to tinkle, to crash, and to break. She batted the Christmas tree balls with her paw, tore at the tissue paper, and pulled the bows off the packages. So they put her out in the hall and closed the glass doors. Pussycat lay down and purred by the fire. She lifted her ears and she listened. There was a sound of crackling. Shh, shh, crackle. What was that? Was it the fire? Always. There was the sound of snow hissing against the window pane. There was a tiny tinkle little pop as something fell from the Christmas tree and shivered to a million splinters of light. That was wonderful. The lights gleamed in Pussycat's eyes. Then, bang, bang, bang. What was that? Someone was hanging Christmas stockings. Oh, my back. Everyone came out and stepped over and around the little cat and put on coats and boots and mufflers and hats and laughed and shuffled about. They kissed each other under the mistletoe, then off they went to church. Suddenly and quietly, far off in the night, Pussycat could hear ding-dong, ding, ding-dong, ding-dong. When everyone had gone, it was dark and quiet. The snow had stopped, and there was only the smell of the Christmas tree filling the house, and silence. I'm stepping over the poor cat. Then softly at first, but distinct in the night, she heard people walking from window to window, the dark carolers on the white snow. Through the still air, their voices came to her listening ears, over the silence of the frozen snow, and the silence of the moonlight, and the silence of the night, and the silence of the bright stars high in the sky. Silent night, holy night, all is calm, all is bright. And as little Pussycat purred and purred by the fire, she heard in the distance the music fading far down the road. Then she pushed open the living room door with her paw, and there in the silent house was the Christmas tree. It sparkled and glistened with lights, gold and silver and blue, the light of rubies and emeralds, shining like no tree that any cat had ever seen in the woods. This to Pussycat was Christmas Eve. So kind of anticlimactic. You thought you'd maybe see Santa appear again, but that's all right. It's a nice little fun book. So let's see. Should we read one of the big ones or no? No, let's go from cats to dogs. One of my favorites. Kids were growing up. Excuse me. All right. Pokey Little Puppy's First Christmas. This is written by Justin Corman, illustrated by Gene Chandler. real close, but I can't really read it that close, so I'll try to I'll do it this way closer to me. 4 little puppies tumbled out of bed one morning and ran to their breakfast bowls. Then they counted themselves. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now where in the world is that poky little puppy, they wondered. Pokey was still fast asleep. His mother nudged him and said, "Come on, Pokey, today is Christmas Eve." Pokey yawned and stretched. Even on a special day like Christmas Eve, he was still Pokey. Pokey's family, the McCraes, were off to the woods this morning to find a tree, and the puppies were going along too. Pokey ran to catch up. I'm going to move closer to me, sorry. Then Pokey smelled something. He slowed down to see what it could be. That's when Pokey tumbled, stumbled, slipped, and slid down into a deep, dark hole. "Help! Help!" he cried. Wouldn't someone come to help him out of the slippery, slidey hole? "I'll help you," said a friendly voice. "My name is Herman." Pokey looked up to see a young skunk peering over the edge of the hole. Herman climbed down into the hole beside Pokey and pushed Pokey up and out of the hole. "You smell funny," said Pokey. Herman sniffed. "You smell funny, too," he said. "Let's play." Herman led Pokey to a frozen pond, and the 2 new friends slid back and forth across cold, shiny ice. What fun! Over in the woods, the McCraes had found the perfect Christmas tree near a hollow log. Mr. McCrae raised his axe and whacked until crack! The tree fell. The 4 little puppies barked excitedly. Pokey heard his sister Pickles call, "Pokey! Come on, Pokey!" He was sorry to have to say goodbye to his new friend. "It's easy to find me," said Herman. "I live in a hollow log just over that hill." Uh-oh. Pokey ran through the snowy woods towards home. Suddenly he saw something. Pokey stopped to sniff the strange object up and down. It was an old red rubber boot. The boot was too wonderful to leave behind, so Pokey dragged it all the way home. "You're late," Pokey's mother scolded gently when he came through the gate. "See what I found!" exclaimed Pokey. His mother shook her head and said firmly, "Can't take that messy, muddy old boot into the house." Sadly, Pokey left the boot by the garden gate. Pokey's not having a good day, is he? Excuse me. After dinner, the puppies helped decorate the Christmas tree. When the tree was glowing with winking, blinking lights and shimmery glass balls, Pokey's mother told her puppies all about Christmas. "And to celebrate this special day, we give each other presents," she said at last. Then she sent the puppies to bed. Now, I find this is just a little commentary on my part. This is like the second story where someone's putting up their Christmas tree on Christmas Eve and decorating it. I mean, I have heard of some traditions like that, or even some traditions where you put the tree up and then Santa decorates it, which is an interesting one. He's too busy, though, to decorate a tree, so I don't get that one. But anyway, it doesn't matter. I digress. Pokey, of course, was the last to reach the cozy cushions where the puppies slept. His brothers and sisters soon fell asleep dreaming of rubber balls, biscuits, and bones, but Pokey stayed awake thinking sadly about his red rubber boot. On Christmas morning, the puppies raced to the tree and found presents just for them. Pokey tore up his packages. "My boot," he cried happily, "and it's all shiny and clean." After breakfast, a gentle snow began to fall. Pokey's brothers and sisters went off to play in the meadow. "Pokey, please don't be late for Christmas dinner," said Pokey's mother. Pokey ran out of the gate, across the meadow, and into the woods to find Herman. It took a long time, but Pokey finally found Herman. He was wet, cold, and miserable. "What happened?" asked Pokey. Herman pointed to a crushed, hollow log. "That was my home," sniffed Herman. The McCraes had crushed it accidentally when they cut down their Christmas tree. Uh-oh. Pokey felt sorry for Herman. The little skunk was alone in the cold, snowy woods, and he had no home, so Pokey took Herman home with him. Pokey's mother surprised to find that her puppy had made friends with the skunk. But Pokey's mother felt sorry for Herman, too. That night, she let him sleep in the doghouse she and her puppies shared in the summer, and Pokey gave up his warm, cozy bed in the McCrae's house to keep his friend company. Oh, good puppy. Next morning, the most amazing thing happened. The Pokey little puppy was the first one out of bed. "Where in the world is that Pokey little puppy?" everyone wondered. The puppies and their mother and Herman followed Pokey's tracks in the cold, crunchy snow. They went out the gate, across the meadow, and right to the edge of the wintry woods. "Come and look! Look at Herman's new home," called Pokey. "Why, it's your boot!" exclaimed Pokey's mother. "Merry Christmas, Herman," said Pokey, "even if it is a day late." Pokey's mother was very proud of her puppy. It was only his first Christmas, but Pokey had already learned that the best gifts of all are the ones you give. So, that was a sweet little story. So, how's it going so far? Good? Well, nobody's watching live, but that's all right. You're all going to watch on playback. What's next? Oh, here's one. This one will get some people talking. The actual, true first Nightmare Before Christmas. This is the storybook that the movie's based on. It's a little bit different. Move myself up a little bit because it's hurting my back a little bit, sort of leaning forward like this. All right. This is written and illustrated by Mr. Tim Burton. Look familiar? Should. There we go. It was late one fall in Halloween land, and the air had quite a chill. Against the moon a skeleton sat alone upon a hill. He was tall and thin, with a bat bow tie. Jack Skellington was his name. He was tired and bored in Halloween land. Everything was always the same. I'm sick of the scaring, the terror, the fright. I'm tired of being something that goes bump in the night. I'm bored with letting my horrible glances and my feet hurt from dancing those skeleton dances. I don't like graveyards, and I need something new. There must be more to life than just yelling boo. Good rhymes. Then out from the grave with a curl and a twist came a whimpering, whining, spectral mist. It was a little ghost dog with a faint little bark and a jack-o'-lantern nose that glowed in the dark. It was Jack's dog Zero, the best friend he had, but Jack hardly noticed, which made Zero sad. All that night and through the next day, Jack wandered and walked. He was filled with dismay. Then deep in the forest, just before night, Jack came upon an amazing sight. Not 20 feet from the spot where he stood were 3 massive doorways carved in wood. He stood before them completely in awe, his gaze transfixed by one special door. Entranced and excited with a slight sense of worry, Jack opened the door to a white, windy flurry. So it's hearts, eggs, and tree. That's like that. What's going to happen? Jack didn't know it, but he'd fallen down in the middle of a place called Christmas Town. Immersed in the light, Jack was no longer haunted. He had finally found the feeling he wanted. And so that his friends wouldn't think him a liar, he took the present-filled stockings that hung by the fire. He took candy and toys that were stacked on the shelves, and a picture of Santa with all of his elves. He took lights and ornaments and the star from the tree, and from the Christmas Town sign he took the big letter C. He picked up everything that sparkled or glowed. He even picked up a handful of snow. He grabbed it all, and without being seen, he took it all back to Halloween. Back in Halloween, a group of Jack's peers stared in amazement at his Christmas souvenirs. For this wondrous vision, none were prepared. Most were excited, though a few were quite scared. For the next few days, while it lightened and thundered, Jack sat alone and obsessively wondered, why is it that they get to spread laughter and cheer, while we stalk the graveyard spreading panic and fear? Well, I could be Santa and I could spread cheer. Why does he get to do it year after year? Outraged by injustice, Jack thought, and he thought, but then he got an idea. Yes, why not? In Christmas Town, Santa was making some toys. When through the din, he heard a soft noise. He answered the door, and to his surprise, he saw weird little creatures in strange disguise. They were altogether ugly and rather petite. As they opened their sacks, they yelled, "Trick or treat!" Then a confused Santa was shoved into a sack and taken to Halloween to see Mastermind Jack. It's a lot of shocking here. In Halloween, everyone gathered once more, for they'd never seen a Santa before, and as they cautiously gazed at the strange old man, Jack related to Santa his masterful plan. "My dear Mr. Claus, I think it's a crime that you've got to be Santa all the time. But now I will give presents and I will spread cheer. We're changing places. I'm Santa this year. It is I who will say Merry Christmas to you, so you may lie in my coffin, creak doors, and yell boo. And please, Mr. Claus, don't think ill of my plan, for I'll do the best Santa job that I can." And though Jack and his family thought they'd do a good job, or his friends, thought they'd do a good job, the idea of Christmas was still quite macabre. I like how they rhyme job and macabre. They were packed up and ready on Christmas Eve day when Jack hitched his reindeer to his sleek coffin sleigh. But on Christmas Eve, as they were about to begin, a Halloween fog slowly rolled in. Jack said, "We can't leave. This fog's just too thick. There'll be no Christmas, and I can't be Saint Nick." A small glowing light pierced through the fog. What could it be? It was Zero, Jack's dog. Picture that. Jack said, "Zero, with your nose so bright, won't you guide my sleigh tonight?" And to be so needed was Zero's great dream, so he joyously flew to the head of the team. As the skeletal sleigh started its ghostly flight, Jack cackled, "Merry Christmas to all a good night." Picture. 'Twas the nightmare before Christmas, and all through the house not a creature was peaceful, not even a mouse. The stockings all hung by the chimney with care, when opened that morning would cause quite a scare. The children all nestled so snug in their beds would have nightmares of monsters and skeleton heads. The moon that hung over the new fallen snow cast an eerie pall over the city below, and Santa Claus' laughter now sounded like groans, and the jingling bells like chattering bones. And what to their wondering eyes should appear but a coffin sleigh with skeleton deer? The skeletal driver so ugly and sick, they knew in a moment, this can't be Saint Nick. From house to house with a true sense of joy, Jack happily issued each present and toy. From rooftop to rooftop he jumped and he skipped, leaving presents that seemed to be straight from a crypt. Unaware that the world was in panic and fear, Jack merrily spread his own brand of cheer. So I can read it from this side. Whoops. He visited the house of Susie and Dave. They got a Gumby and Pokey from the grave. Then onto the home of little Jane Newman. She got a baby doll possessed by a demon. Demon. That's close enough. A monstrous train with tentacled tracks. A ghoulish puppet wielding an axe. A man-eating plant disguised as a wreath, and a vampire teddy bear with very sharp teeth. There were screams of terror, but Jack didn't hear it. He was much too involved with his own Christmas spirit. Jack finally looked down from his dark, starry frights and saw the commotion, the noise, and the lights. Why, they're celebrating. It looks like such fun. They're thanking me for the good job that I've done. But what he thought were fireworks meant as goodwill were bullets and missiles intended to kill. Amidst the barrage of artillery fire, Jack urged Zero to go higher and higher. And away they all flew like the storm of a thistle until they were hit by a well-guided missile. And as they fell in the cemetery way out of sight, was heard, "Merry Christmas to all a good night." Jack pulled himself up on a large stone cross, and from there he reviewed his incredible loss. I thought there could be Santa, I had such belief. Jack was confused and filled with great grief. Not knowing where to turn, he looked towards the sky. Then he slumped on the grave and he started to cry. And as Zero and Jack lay crumpled on the ground, then suddenly heard a familiar sound. Ugh. Whew. Try to get this right here. "My dear Jack," said Santa, "I applaud your intent. I know wrecking such havoc was not what you meant, and so you are sad and feeling quite blue, but taking over Christmas was the wrong thing to do. I hope you realize Halloween is the right place for you. There's a lot more, Jack, that I'd like to say, but now I must hurry, for it's almost Christmas Day." He jumped in his sleigh, and with a wink of an eye, he said, "Merry Christmas," and bid them goodbye. Back home, Jack was sad, but then, like a dream, Santa brought Christmas to the land of Halloween. See, a little bit different than the movie, but you know what? That's okay. It's okay to be a little bit different. Except for when you kill main characters who shouldn't be dead, but that's besides the point. So let's see, what should we do next here? Nothing over there. Oh, no, let's not do that one. All right, let me see what we got here. Oh, here we go. Here's this one. Go. Oh, no, we'll do this one first. This is for all the girls out there. Yeah, boys might like it too. Fancy Nancy's Splendor for Christmas. It's written by Jane O'Connor, illustrated by Robin Price Glasser. Excuse me. This is a cute one, and it's got really nice pictures too. The mom's hot, but that's besides the point. Anyway, how are we doing this? There we go. Right. Our house never looked fancy, except, ta-da, at Christmas time. I love Christmas so much it's important to find a tree with a wonderful aroma. That's a fancy word for smell. I think bigger is always better. But my dad says we must compromise. That means, oh, jeez. That means we end up with the tree my mom wants. On Christmas Eve, we get out the ornaments. Some were Grandpa's when he was a little boy. These are heirlooms, my mom says. That's fancy for things that are old and valuable. Here is our tree topper. Isn't it just gorgeous? I bought it last summer with all my birthday money. It's never too early to prepare for Christmas. We always wait for Grandpa to decorate the tree. He'll be here very soon. While we wait, we bake Christmas cookies. My sister helps with the sprinkles. Delectable. That's fancy for yummy. Guess which one I decorated? I finished wrapping all the presents. Just the artwork in this is amazing. The quilt is for Maribel. Put lace on anything and voila, it's fancy. I also made a tiny Christmas card for her. Maribel's her favorite toy doll. Next we go caroling, which is fancy for singing Christmas songs. That's awesome. You know, the next door neighbor with the awesome outfit on, the cool house. Back at home, still no Grandpa. So we plead with our parents. Pleading is like begging, only fancier. Please, please, pretty please, can we just put up the tree topper now? Ooh la la. Everything it says on the box is true. It spins, it flashes on and off, then changes color. My dad said that Grandpa called. He'll be here any minute. We wait and wait, and wait some more. How can a minute take so long? Frenchie is not as patient as I am. So I unwrapped one of her presents, a tug toy. Frenchie is strong, but I am stronger. I pull hard. Oops! The tree sways. Oh no, look out below! The tree topper smashes to pieces. I am devastated, which is upset, only a zillion times worse. Just then, Grandpa arrives. I'll tell him what happened. When life gives you cracked eggs, make eggnog, he says. What does that mean, I ask. It means you improvise. That's a fancy word for using whatever's around to make something. Make a new tree topper with glitter and pom-poms and ribbons. Grandpa says one day you'll leave your own family, and you will tell them how we made this together. You will have your own family, and you will tell them how we made this together. Oh, it's going to be an heirloom, I explained to my sister. Christmas party here. Decorating the tree is so much fun. There's no such thing as too much tinsel, I keep telling everyone. Only one word describes how magnificent, joyous, and sparkling Christmas morning is. Splendiferous. See, it's kind of cute, right? You do eggs, you make eggnog. Oh, yeah. So what's next? Let's do this then. We got a couple of these. The Snowman Band of Snowboggle Bend. Cheryl Hawkinson, illustrated by Mike Esberg. In the far northern village of Snowboggle Bend, it snowed, and it snowed, and it snowed without end. Snow floated and fluttered and silenced the land, except for the sound of the town's only band. From a broken-down school bus, their music came soaring, awakening animals who'd rather be snoring. They call themselves Snowpack, these talented four, and they practice and practice and practice some more. Mr. Sand Snowman. Snow Joe blew sweetly on his alto sax, while Snow Freddy's fingers flew over his axe. Snow Tom on trumpet could make a horn sing, and Snow Ken on keys was a beautiful thing. There was just one small problem. No one knew they existed. It was hard to get gigs, but Snowpack persisted. Each year they made tracks to a nearby big city to audition for Slush Fest. The results were not pretty. Each year they received a sorry but no from the concert's promoter, Sir Farley Fitzsnow. We've got to do something, said Snow Ken. At last, let's just go in the Slush Fest. It might be a blast. But how do we get there? Said Snow Joe with a frown. The Snow Dome Pavilion is way out of town. Well, our bus is no help, sadly, answered Snow Freddy. Its get-up is gone, and it's hardly road ready. There's someone, said Snow Tom, who might fix it for us. She's quite the mechanic, my sister, Snow Doris. I'll fix it, Sis said, soon after arriving, but when I'm all finished, then I'll do the driving. What's wrong with that? I'd do that too. Let someone else drive. That'd be awesome. So Snowpack left town with some rattling and creaking, but at the first curve they heard shouting and shrieking. A huge crowd had gathered in the Mountain Pass Ranch. The band cried out loudly, "Oh no, avalanche!" What the? No one can move. Everyone's stuck. Goodbye, good old Slush Fest. Man, what bad luck. But where are the mammoths? Demanded Snow Joe. Our town's team of woolies should shovel this snow. Sure enough, the two mammoths showed up at the scene, but they wouldn't budge. They were moody and mean. Hey, said Snow Freddy, no one's leaving here soon. We've got an audience. Let's play them some tunes. So they turned up the amps and they really got swinging, and soon everybody was clapping and singing. Then someone said, look, the mammoths are moving. Who knew they liked music? They really are grooving. Sure enough, the two woolies were smiling and dancing. You would think they were reindeer the way they were prancing. Then quick as a flash, the two creatures had cleared a path through the mountains, and everyone cheered. When who should appear but Sir Farley Fitzsnow, saying, good job, you guys. What a band. What a show. This is kind of last minute, but what do you say? Could you be the star act at the Slush Fest today? They looked at each other, then replied with a grin, well, we are kind of busy, but we'll fit you in. That was the end. Nice. Ooh. So, enjoying it so far? I hope so. I still got lots and lots to go. Let's see, should we throw another bone at you guys? Do one that you guys have heard of before? Let's see, it's right around 10 o'clock, so I'll tell you what, let's do this a little local flavor, and then we will do a local one, a famous one. This one's local flavor, but regardless, it's still a Christmas story. Santa's sleigh is on its way to Maryland. Yeah, Maryland. It's written by Eric James, illustrated by Robert Dunn. Moon over Main Street gave off a cool glow. Annapolis lie snug under blankets of snow. The star-spangled sky is especially bright. Hey Santa, please visit tonight. The Snowman and Laurel stand perfectly still, their hats and their scarves keeping out the night chill. The icicles sparkle as snowflakes drift down from Bethesda to Hagerstown and all around. Hagerstown and all around. Actually, I don't think you guys heard me. This Christmas trees twinkle, the eggnog smells sweet, the stockings are out for the gifts, not your feet. The garlands and paper chains hang from the ceiling and give the whole household that Christmassy feeling. Excited young children with heads full of wishes leave large Christmas cookies and carrots on dishes. They scurry upstairs, for they've heard it is said that Santa comes once you're asleep in your bed. In Olney, the yawns become stronger and stronger. The children of Frederick can't stand up much longer. From Elkton to Clarksburg and Baltimore too, they're soon sleeping soundly, all children but you. You stand at your window and gaze at the sky with hopes that you'll see Santa's sleigh whizzing by. You almost nod off but see movement ahead. A flurry of white and some flashes of red. You jump up and down, the shape becomes clear. Hey Santa, my home's over here. But something is wrong. There are sparkles everywhere. The sleigh twists and turns as it swoops through the air. You're wide awake now. You've had such a fright. There's no chance of sleep till you know he's all right. You think about Santa, his reindeer and sleigh. Hey Santa, I hope you're okay. Yes, Santa is fine. He's in Kinder Farm Park, replacing the fuse for a sleigh in the dark. He tugs on the rein, shouting, up, away, and hits the ignition, which starts up his sleigh. With magical speed only Santa possesses, he visits well over 1,000 addresses. From Wheaton to Chestertown, handing out toys, he visits each house without making a noise. Now Santa has been to all houses but one. He can't go back home till this last house is done. It's your house, of course, but you're still wide awake. He circles above as he takes a small break. And that's when you see him. You know he's all right. Your head hits a pillow. You're out like a light. He lands on the roof with the sound of your snores. It's Santa. He's coming indoors. But arg, you wake up and you jump to your feet. You're sure you forgot to leave Santa a treat. Will Santa leave presents for someone so rude? You must go downstairs and make sure he has food. You enter the kitchen and turn on the light, not spotting the figure who ducks out of sight. You're still half asleep, so you don't find it weird that the broom has a hat and a coat has a beard. And a coat and a beard. You get out the cookies, still rubbing your eyes, too blurry to make out his clever disguise. You open the fridge door, but don't spot the broom as it sweeps past you into the family room. With the plate in your hands, you head off to the tree. You're feeling so sleepy you don't even see, a sight that would have your heart skipping a beat. The curtains have sprouted 2 Santa-sized feet. Still sleepy, you head back to bed with a smile. The panic is over. It's all been worthwhile. You climb up the staircases, not once looking back, as a chuckling Santa takes toys from his sack. Ho, ho, ho. Now Santa is leaving. His sleigh races high. It sparkles and fizzles and lights up the sky. The Chevy Chase streetlights grow dim in the night. Hey Santa, please have a safe flight. Quite soon he'll leave Maryland, cities behind, where children are lovely and grown-ups are kind. And then he booms loudly, his voice full of cheer. Ho, 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 Maryland, I'll see you next year. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I need to try something real quick because I think maybe the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 previous books did not go through. So I'm going to shut down this broadcast. I'm going to replay it and make sure that everything's okay because I don't want to continue this if it is not working. So I will be back. So hang out and I'll be right back.